Imagine that you are walking through the woods and come across a large roll of cling film. And then you wonder if it's possible to make a small house with it. Before constructing, it is very important to find the right place, or rather, the right trees. Located correctly in relation to each other. It is required that the trunks of the trees make a rectangular pattern. Finding such a place was a task that took us several hours. After all, the trees grow chaotically and such a coincidence is quite rare. On the way, we found some berries, which were quite tasty, and after half an hour, we found a suitable place with an almost perfect rectangle. First, we need to clean the place for the house, so that it will be clean inside and it will be much more pleasant to work on in a clean area. Let this log lie in the house, it will come in handy, but we will move it a little bit. It seems to be clear now, and it's time to take a saw and look for branches. We need thick and long branches with which we will build the frame of the roof. We also need a thin branch, the end of which should be sharpened and put into the ground. It will support the other end of the stick, so we don't have to hold it by hand. We don't have nails and screws, so we will only use a rope. Tie the frame stick to the tree at a height of a little over 1.5 meters. Under such conditions, it is very difficult to create good tension of the rope, but it can be increased by putting a stick between the rope and the trunk of the tree. We attach the second stick to the other tree in the same way. Now we slightly lift the free ends of both sticks and tie them together firmly. It should look like this. Now we have to do the exact same thing on the other side. Next we need a very long stick, one of which we lean on the stick at the top of the structure. Fasten it with rope, and now it's starting to look like a house. I can't wait to see it finished. Well, suddenly it started raining, and we had to make waterproof roof as soon as possible. We can use a wand inside the roll for ease of unrolling. It might seem that everything else is very simple, it was just a matter of stretching the film on the sticks. But the task turned out to be not so easy. The gaps appeared near the trees, so we had to tighten them with rope. From time to time, it is necessary to press the layers of the film so that they stick together and do not let the water in. Pull the film all the way to the top. Here I had to cut the center stick. It was preventing the film from stretching. For the rest of the protruding elements, you can make some holes in the film. The gap near the thickest tree had to be sealed in this tricky way, just by wrapping the film around it. After about an hour of work, our roof was ready. It made things much easier, because now we have shelter even from the heaviest rain. To build the walls of the house, it was necessary to wrap the film on the trunks of the trees, pulling it tightly so that the walls will hold their shape. The second layer should overlap with the first one, and the following layers should be applied in the same way. Of course, you can make two-layer walls, but the wind is rarely strong in the woods, so I think even one layer will be fine. Well, if you want to hide from a bear, then you'll need way more layers, but I'm not sure if that'll help. We fixed the gap under the roof by attaching vertical stripes of the film. However, there is no need for airtightness, since we plan to make a fire inside later on. Because of the roots, the film doesn't reach the ground about 20 centimeters, and so that bears and rabbits can't get in, we close such holes with some pine branches. Put them around the house and cover them with leaves of fern, so that the wind doesn't blow through. It seems to be a great house, but there is one problem. For some reason, I can't get into it. Probably because there's no door. Therefore, we just cut the entrance hole with a knife. The main thing is not to weaken the house too much so it doesn't fall apart. We make 2 cuts and get something like a door. Also, we tie 3 ropes in order to close it. There is a small gap in the closed position, which is unlikely to have a negative impact on our sense of security. Finally, our film house is ready. It has a waterproof roof and windproof walls. It takes 1 day to build and can accommodate up to 3 or even more people inside. It is very comfortable and light inside because the walls are completely transparent, and you can see everything that's going on around the house. Still, there's one more important test. We've already mentioned that we want to light a fire inside the house and check a few things. Firstly, it is important if the roof will handle heat flow, and secondly, if the smoke will leave the house. We will start a fire inside this titanium stove, which you can already see in our other videos. Let's make a delicious dinner as well. The first and most important element of our dish will be lard. Cut it into 3 cubes. After that, let's chop a small onion. Now it's time to put everything in a frying pan, but the lard should melt for a minute before we add the onions. Quickly slice small sausages and add it to the pan. Oh, it smells amazing inside the house. Now we add a couple of tomatoes, pieces of cheese, and the sausage, and immediately beat 2 eggs on top of it. We take the pan from the stove, put 2 slices of bread on it, and in a minute we have a delicious toast. It's a little burnt, but the corners can be removed. This is so delicious. I hope that you're not too hungry watching it. Luckily, the roof of the house didn't burn, which means we can light a fire inside. Also, there was enough ventilation so that all the smoke went outside. Unfortunately, plastic film is not an environmentally friendly product, and we can't leave it in the woods. So we decided to dismantle the house. However, we left the frame as it was. Perhaps it will be useful for someone else. The film was folded and taken to the city for recycling. Probably, if someone stumbles upon this place in the future, they might think that some kind of a ritual or a ceremony took place here.